Hey yo, what up, what up, what up? This is Lemekh with selahsportstv. Right back at you with another one. So, ever since Sunday, we saw what happened with this play here, and I'm just gonna start off here. And what this video is about is how sports have brought about societal big time to changes in our society. So without further ado, let's watch this video. Oh my goodness. So unsportsmanlike. I know what you guys are probably thinking. That was like the worst um that was like the roughest call ever. I mean the roughest tackle ever. The most unsportsmanlike tackle. It's no wonder he got penalized 15 yards for tackling Tom Brady that way. Of course I'm being facetious, right? But we do have an issue. Any man above the age of 30, if you listen to him long enough, you'll hear his gripes. You'll hear him say things like, "Man, the game is so soft now. Like they're making the game soft, and it really doesn't matter what sport you're talking about. Um, they're making all the sports soft." And that's what this video is about. My the concept behind this video is nothing is made soft for no reason. Like if something is being made soft, it's being made soft for a reason, for a purpose, right? So let's just start off talking about sports. Sports are, most people know that sports are a social construct designed to, I would say, pacify us on some level. On some level, it's supposed to pacify us, right? On some level, I mean, you'll hear people even say it. Excuse me, I had to take a sip there. But you'll hear people say it like sports are supposed to bring us together, right? People of this society, Western world, we expect sports to do things for us culturally, right? Um, Also, sports generate a huge amount of revenue, jobs, and like I said, the cultural impact. Um, the revenue that sports bring in, like all these fans have bought merchandise for a sports team. You know what I mean? Like this is big business. You got some tailgaters out here. This video is about basically the cultural impact of sports. You hear the saying, "Art imitates life." Well, for a long time, I've been saying that life imitates art, and some of you guys will see this, and some won't, and it's okay. This won't be an exhaustive study. You know what I mean? Like this is not gonna be an hour-long video. It's not gonna be exhaustive. This is designed to kind of just put something on your radar that maybe you hadn't thought about before. So even though it won't be an exhaustive study, it will be academically and historically correct. Okay, and it goes a little something like this. You may have heard the saying before. Uh, Hard times create strong men create good times, and good times create weak men, and then weak men create hard times all over again. You understand that? Hard times create strong men. Those strong men, because they've been through hard times, they know how to create good times because they've been through hard times. Then these good times create weak, spoiled, emasculated men. And those men don't have the wherewithal, the cachet, or the strength to do anything. So those men can only create hard times. Do we understand that? Okay. Um, it's really not in the powers that be's best interest to promote strong, healthy men. Um, in this society, like why would they, you know? And if you can see my reflection in the screen, that's fine. But why would the powers that be of this society want that? I don't think they would. And they don't. They show us what they are into. They show us, they tell us what they are into. Strong women, women being built up no matter what. No clause, like no cause divorce. Women can get married for the bag and just divorce you with no cause, no reason, anything. They just, when it's time, it's time. Um, it's really, there's nothing in today's world. There's really not much in for it for a man. Um, Regarding marriage, things like this. Um, all these things have taken away from the best interest of men, right? Um, None of this is really a big problem because as men, we're survivors. We know how to kind of navigate through this world. We know how to, we can navigate through the world without being married, right? We can navigate through the world without, some men can navigate through the world without having children, right? Like we know how to, we can do what we need to do to give ourselves the best life. But one of the things that is harder for us to get to, harder for us to get away from, is the attacks that are coming through the sports world. The sports world has always been kind of a safe haven for men, right? Somewhere we can go where we can get away from politics, religion, and that's how it used to be that way, right? Um, it's not like that anymore, as you may know, right? So, what are some changes? This video is basically going to focus on about maybe 3 changes. And there's plenty more, but I just want to put these on your radar. Hang on one second. Yeah, as we see, this is Deion Sanders, cultural icon. I would label Deion as a cultural icon. This is him in his early years, like right out of college, right out of Florida State. He was kind of a wild, flamboyant guy. He was seen as kind of a bad boy, right? He went to Florida State, and we know Miami was the big bad boy school, so he was kind of starting his own thing, at a different school, and we know what became of this guy, right? NFL legend, maybe the greatest NFL player ever, definitely a top 5 of all time NFL player. At cornerback, you're not naming anybody over Deion Sanders, So this guy was able to carve out a piece of culture for himself, just due to his excellence and a lot of the extra stuff he came with on the football field, right? Allen Iverson, we see Allen Iverson, him in his baggy suit, looking quite ridiculous, but somehow he was able to become a cultural icon. He brought the cornrows, the tattoos, and suits like this to black culture. Thanks a lot, Allen Iverson. Right? This is Allen Iverson's contribution to culture, and I'm not gonna take away from it too bad. I don't think it was particularly helpful, right? But it's okay. So let's get to it here. Let's get to it. This is basically pointing to my last comment. The hard times creating strong men create good times create weak men, and weak men create hard times. If you don't know, this guy here, you can barely see him, is Emperor Augustus. He was the first emperor of Rome, probably the emperor of the Roman Empire's greatest period. He was a strong guy, strong leader, and he helped create a strong empire, right? This isn't me fanboying for Rome or even saying I like Rome or anything like that. This is just stating facts. Mr. Aurelius, or Emperor Aurelius, I'm sorry, Emperor Augustus did his thing, right? He did his thing. Very masculine guy. Somehow, Augustus, him being a strong emperor, next came Tiberius, and then after that came this guy. I'm sorry, no. After that came Caligula, which was pretty much the beginning of the end for Rome. Once a guy like Caligula became emperor, it was basically downhill all the way until we get to this guy, Nero, who was basically the last emperor of the Roman Empire. So what I want to talk about real quick is how there's going to be some consequences when you go from a guy like this, when you go from this being your emperor to that being your emperor. There's going to be some huge, huge consequences to that, right? As you can see, this guy, he does not look like he should be in charge of anything. He doesn't look like he should be in charge of an army, right? But this is what happens when men become weak. He was the last emperor of the Roman Empire. And we pretty much know, as we see Augustus here, we know what brought about the end of the Roman Empire, and that was these guys. Right? The Germanic tribes. They said, oh, they turned into a bunch of pussies over there. Okay, we're still men. Let's go take them over. And that's what happened. That's how it works. Okay? It's not about woke. It's not about LGB, whatever. It's about if men aren't strong, men get killed, and they get taken into bondage. They get taken, their lands get taken over. Men have one choice in life, and that's to remain strong, no matter what. Right? Oh boy. I'm sure you're thinking, what the fuck does this have to do with sports, right? I get it. What the fuck does this have to do with sports? Well, quite a bit, right? Quite a bit. Most people just want to watch sports. We're not thinking about society. We just want to come to the game, enjoy it, and go home, be pissed about the game for a week and give it another shot, right? But what about these street lights? What about these street cameras? Right? Why the fuck is Lemekh showing us street cameras? I get it. These street cameras are everywhere. Like if you live in a major city, you've seen these street cameras everywhere. Right? But did you know that before they could put these street cameras on the street in your neighborhood, they had to do this? They had to get you warmed up to the idea of being surveillanced. Did you realize that? Like once you opened up to the idea of being surveillanced, see, sports is a microcosm of society. We don't know the game. We think it's just a game, but it's more going on. Things are being rolled out. Ideas, concepts are being rolled out that you really don't know. So they throw this guy out. I'm sorry. They throw this out, And um, you know, like this is to get, once we accept this, we'll accept cameras everywhere, right? So that's one aspect, the surveillance aspect that came through sports first. Once we accepted it, it was easy for us to accept being watched in our everyday lives. Let's go to a different one. And I had more slides originally for this, but I'm not sure what happened. I've been trying to do a bunch of different things, so I really haven't had time to put this thing together like it was supposed to be. But hopefully you can grasp the message. Another aspect of today's society in regards to sports is how today, you may have noticed, criminals have more rights now than ever. I mean, criminals are being put on a pedestal, bro. Like several of the worst crimes um, have several of the worst cities have somehow thought it was smart to take their crime infested cities, right, into a no cash bail system. I'm not sure if people know what's going to happen with that, but take a city like Chicago, for instance. Huge gang problem, huge crime problem, right? Huge cultural problem. That's really what the problem is. The culture is just way too. It's way too easy to kill a black man there, and there's really nothing out of the ordinary for a black man to get killed by another black man there. So huge cultural problems, but in order to step up and fight this problem, what has Chicago done? They've gotten rid of cash bail. So meaning you can go and shoot a couple guys tonight and be out on the street tonight because there will be no cash bail. Everybody gets recognizance. Do you understand that? Do you understand what that's going to do to the crime rate up there? I'm not picking on Chicago because this thing is going to go around and it's going to touch different cities. But just touching on that alone, you'll see how the gangs of Chicago have just been promoted, pretty much. The gangs of LA have just been promoted, right? And then we have the gangs of New York, right? New York is gonna steal New York. I think it's kind of gonna depend on what state you're in, right? Just like in boxing, like breaking the rules on one platform might give you breaking the rules on one platform in boxing might get you removed from the sport, right? But breaking the rules in boxing in another platform might not have anything happening to you, right? Look at how these criminals have been raised up. There was a time where criminals were frowned upon. It was a time where behaving a certain way in public was frowned upon. But look at how we treat criminals now. We this guy's a rapist. He was running from when he was accosted by those police when he got shot. This guy was fleeing the scene of basically an R word on a woman. He R worded a woman and fled. She called the police. Police grabbed this guy, told him to put his hands up. He walks to his car. He got shot for not following directions, right? The police telling him to put his hands up. He walks to his car where he did have a weapon stashed. And who is made the hero? Jacob Blake, right? That's Jacob Blake's name written on another helmet. We venerate these guys, these criminals. Track queen, she's, selling drugs to the community. She gets killed by police, for, again, not following directions. It could have been a short night. She could have just gotten arrested, went to jail, had her time in court. No. These people, they can do all the crime, but then when it's time, to go to jail, like a normal criminal, all criminals know that their time will come. No, these people can't handle it, start acting out, and then we make them into martyrs. Right? That stop. That has to stop. That has to stop. Like, we don't have a choice. That is genocide. These people are not worth raising up. It doesn't matter if we agree with how they died or not. It doesn't. Just because I don't agree with how you died does not mean you're a hero. Because you're not. Actually, just because you died doing something, I'll say this. It doesn't mean you're not a fucking villain. Right? You did something, got caught doing it, something illegal, got caught doing it. Right? Let's go back. You did something, got caught doing it, something illegal, and instead of following the rules, the rule of law, you kept going and died because of it. That's what happened. You're not a hero. These people are not heroes. Look at this shit. Look at this shit. I mean, the statue, he on crack right here. So we got, like I mentioned, we got these cheaters in boxing, right? We have these cheaters in boxing. One guy cheats and he gets banished for years. Another guy cheats and it's like he becomes the face of the sport, right? Just like in some of these cities, if you commit a crime, if you commit a crime, a violent crime in Chicago, it's going to go a little bit different than if you commit that same violent crime in Florida, right? It's going to go a little different. So that's what we have in boxing today. Many criminals basically doing what they want to do and being propped up, right? Breaking the rules and being propped up afterward. It's quite the phenomenon. It's quite the phenomenon, right? Finally, one of the things I want to speak on is one of the most effective ways to cripple a man, right? One of the most effective ways to cripple a man is to remove his right to defend himself, right? You take away a man's right to defend himself, and not more so than himself, his square. That means his family, his property. A man has a right to defend himself, his family, his property, all those things, right? We all have a right to defend ourselves. So, again, what the fuck does this have to do with sports, Lemekh? Well, it's pretty simple, actually. We've seen all these sports getting attacked basically through the defenses. The defenses are being handicapped. Who doesn't see that? In basketball, right? As we look through some more of these gun control pictures, we got gun control. Some people want, gun rights. You got gun control, you got gun rights. I'm more of a rights guy, personally. But, hey, you see the Second Amendment here. But basically, the NBA, look at the changes. They took away hand checking, the right to defend. They made it harder. All these sports are making it harder to defend. Defend what? Your basket. What is your basket? What does that mean in sports? that your basket is your home. Do we get that? Like the end zone, that's your home. The home plate, that's your home. The basket is your home. So when you're playing defense, you're defending your square, right? But look at what the NBA has done. They took away basically all the physicality. You can't hook guys. I mean, I can get that to a certain extent, but hooking, and I'm not talking about the hook shot. I'm talking about hooking with your arm, right? Hooking, and that is a physical move. Like, we should be able to do things to get by on our physicality. It shouldn't just be a finesse sport, and the NBA is basically taking all that away. you know um, it's basically a no contact league. That's why it looks like the players are on skates. Like, the players aren't shaped the same. They're shaped completely different than they used to be. They're not tough, they're not rugged. you know um, it's very interesting what's happened. All this has led to easier uh, trips to the basket, finesse game. You got point guards, you got guards 6'2", 6'3", getting triple doubles under the basket, getting rebounds when it should really be big guys. Everything is out of whack, okay? All because the physicality has been removed from the game. Like, you put physicality back in the game where it belongs, you'll see the game being played the way it's supposed to. The NFL. Now, as we look at this pretty vicious helmet-to-helmet hit, now I get why they would take out the helmet-to-helmet hits. Extremely dangerous to have guys this big, this fast, colliding with each other at full speed with helmets on, head first. Like, that's just, it's dangerous. It's stupid. I get it. I get the helmet-to-helmet rules, right? But as usual, they create these rules, and then as we look at this beautiful, beautiful hit right here, probably a little more beautiful because it's a Raven. It's a Raven putting the hit on this guy. But anyway, and this wasn't a helmet-to-helmet hit, by the way. This was a clean hit. Helmet just popped off. Anyway, they go too far. They go too far with the rules to now it's about defenseless receivers, right? Now you basically have to let opposing receivers catch the ball if it doesn't look like they can land safely on their feet. So basically, now I'm playing defense. I'm the safety. I see this guy coming across the middle. It's on me. I have to look out for his safety now. As the opposing player, I have to judge and say, now, I've been taught all my life to kill this guy when he comes across the middle, right? But now I have to, now my choice is I can tackle him or I have to let him catch it because I could hurt him instead of just playing fierce and going for the kill shot. And everybody should know I'm not talking about kill shots, like a real kill shot. We're talking about big hits. Like, we grew up watching Ronnie Lott. Ronnie Lott has never killed anyone, right? But basically, because of this, all this bullshit, right? All these changes, now instead of defenders being concerned with how to defend, how are we going to get this guy down? Now we see all this bad tackling, right? All this bad tackling. I wanted you to see that. That was real important. This is a horrible tackle by two Pittsburgh Steelers. Looks like Palomalu, right? But who's actually a pretty good tackler. But I found one where he didn't get his arms wrapped around the guy. Anyway, all these fucking rules are taking defenses out of the spirit of defending and into being caretakers. Look at this, another Steeler with a horrible Horrible display of tackling. I love it. Right? Which brings me back to this little point. Get it? So I know this was a kind of a quirky little video. It went on a lot longer than I intended it to. But there's no sweat. Like, I'll get better at this thing, and I'm not going anywhere. Like, we are gonna break down these sports and these cultural norms, and as well as the anomalies. So if you like the video, go ahead and punch that like button for me. Peace.